Welcome to our live chat on Ottawa Sun and TorontoSun.com. Happy to have you here as we prepare for the Battle of Ontario tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Ottawa Senators at Scotiabank Place. I'm Bruce Garriock. To the left of me is Michael Zeisberger, hockey columnist for the Sunday Sun, who doesn't write quite as good a Sunday column as I do. And my other close friend here is Donald Brennan, our hockey columnist here from the Ottawa Sun. We're going to be along here for a few minutes to discuss the Battle of Ontario. And one of the things that's happening tonight, guys, is there'll be no Daniel Alfredsson in the lineup for the Senators. A vicious hit from Wojtek Wolski yesterday in New York. Guys, I want to get your impressions on that hit. As I was first to report today, no further action from the National Hockey League. Let's start with you, Don.
I thought it looked a lot. I heard somebody say this is not my original idea, but I thought it looked a lot like the Steckel hit on Crosby. The way Alfredsson went down, the way he fell, the way he bounced off the ice. I don't know. It doesn't look good to me, and I'm just thinking that what a interesting swing of things in that game. Zenon Konopka gets thrown out of the game for a shoulder to shoulder check, and what's his face?
Wolski.
I've
Him too.
That one. Not 2 minutes. 2 minutes for that hit. To me, that's a joke.
My biggest problem with that, guys, was that the puck was nowhere near. It was so far behind, and you know what? When we saw the incident in the final last year, where Nathan Horton got injured, they talked about that and said, well, it was a split second too late. Well, this play yesterday was at least 1,002, 1,003 after the fact. But what I'm most bitter about, who the Leaf fans at the Scotiabank Place could have booed tonight?
Oh, Don, there might be a little bit.
They might be booing you, Don, because there's no Alfie to boo.
And they aren't booing Gonchar anymore, so they got no one left to boo.
Who said they should boo Gonchar?
No, but that's the Ottawa fans booing him. It's the Leaf fans booing Alfie.
Guys, we've got some reader questions, and we'll take your reader questions at OttawaSun.com. Our editor, Don Wilcox, is going to manage all this for us, and he says he's going to put through the intelligent questions, so we're going to try and get a few of those. We do have a question on the subject of Daniel Alfredsson, though. This is from Dave. If the Leafs make the playoffs and the Senators don't, and the Leafs made a respectable offer for Alfredsson, do you think Alfie would accept playing for the Leafs? I'm not laughing at the question. I'm laughing at the prospect of that happening.
You couldn't get that out.
I cannot see Alfredsson ever accepting a deal to the Leafs, Mike.
Well, I don't know. Alfie's one of the nicest guys that I've run into in the National Hockey League. I just want to say, forget that question for a moment. If Ottawa does that, man, they are, for lack of a better word, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, okay? Because why would they ever trade, this beloved guy here and a guy who's public enemy number one in Toronto, so much so that the Leaf fans actually boo him in his own rink, and they're going to send him to Toronto? That would be a PR nightmare.
Why would Boston ever trade Ray Bourque to Colorado to give the guy a thank you for all his years of service and to let him win Stanley Cup?
Colorado does not quite have the hatred towards Boston that the Leafs and the Senators do for each other.
But the other thing you've got to add, let's add a little bit of sanity to this. As I noted 2 weeks ago, Daniel Alfredsson has a $4.8 million cap hit, guys, next year. Whether he plays or not, he's got a cap hit. So he's not going anywhere in the spring because I don't think any team is going to take on that cap hit unless, number one, he promises he's going to play, or number two, they've got a deal that they can trade him to a team they could trade him to a team like the Islanders where they need some cap space taken up and he doesn't play. So the actual chance of this happening is zero.
Besides,
not a dumb question, just not worth it.
Besides, can I just say something?
Yep.
Besides, it's funny to be talking about Toronto bulking up for their Stanley Cup run.
Well, it is October.
No, but so that's funny. But it's also funny to think that Ottawa is going to be in the position to be selling. Because I didn't write this. I wanted to, Bruce. I came very close to writing it on a very popular blog off the Post.
I know where you're going.
Can I just say it?
Okay.
I think that not only the Leafs, but the Senators are going to make the playoffs this year.
Well, and that leads to, hold on a second, because that...
The Battle of Ontario, here we come.
Now, I know I'm not as nervous as the last guy who sat in the seat, but you do have to let me speak from time to time. That leads to our next question, Michael. That Tracy wants to know, which team will make the playoffs, the Senators or the Leafs? She didn't say both, but we'll throw in both for her.
Well, if Don passes over that red, white, and black Kool-Aid that he's drinking in that canister there, then maybe I'll
Is that what you think this is?
I think that, and maybe it sounds like homerism. I'm still skeptical that either team will make it.
How's that being Homer? A Homer, you're saying either one will make it.
But will you let me finish?
Oh, my God.
But I would say of the two, I think the Leafs have a better shot because I still think the Sens are too young.
He's not being a Homer, Bruce.
No, but he's not being a homer at all.
No.
I gotta ask you, how have they won as many games as they've won this year? Is Dion Phaneuf really that much of an impact?
Yes, he has been, and believe me, you think you're shocked? You should check out the way that watching him on a nightly basis that we've seen in Toronto. This is the best that I have seen Dion Phaneuf play since his first 2 years in Calgary. And I don't know what's happened, what's gotten into him, but he's hitting, he's getting points, and he's actually been a leader when the team had a week off a couple of weeks ago and they went to the Air Force Base in Trenton. Dion was the guy, like he was Julie McCoy, a friendly cruise director, Don, one of your favorite shows, The Love Boat.
He plays a little bit like Julie, too, sometimes. Oh. Hey, no, but can I just say one thing about
Can
Dion?
we just ask your buddy Costa about that?
Da Costa? But,
Da Costa.
Yeah. But the one thing I wanted to say about it is that game that great hit on Da Costa. That was a great hit. The Senators answering. I think there's going to be some more answering tonight, for one thing.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. But I can't help, every time I look at Dion Phaneuf, I don't even know if I should say this here, but every time I look at Dion Phaneuf, I'm going to anyways, can't help but think.
Is there a delay here?
I can't help but think what a goofy looking guy he is. And then when they pan, but can I just say that?
Ladies and gentlemen.
But when they pan then to his girlfriend in the crowd with his mother, his girlfriend, Alicia Cuthbert, they pan to her about 4 times last game. I'm only going to be sad that I'm at this game tonight, so I can't see pictures of her on TV because she's beautiful and he's goofy looking, and I don't understand how that happened at all.
By the way, Bruce, you ever heard of the pot calling the kettle black? I'll leave it at that. Okay?
Well,
wow.
we do have a question from Chris, and Chris wants to know, based on the first month of the season, who has a better shot of making Team Canada in 2014? And if that's if they do go to Sochi, and that decision hasn't been made yet, is it Jason Spezza or Dion Phaneuf? My personal feeling is Jason Spezza is one of the best centers in the league right now. I think he's got a pretty good shot. I'm not sure what Phaneuf could bring to that team.
You know what? I'm not sure where you go because I think there'd be more openings on defense than there will be at forward. But I'll tell you one thing. The way that Jason Spezza has been playing this year and the way he's been leading this team in comebacks, he had that first game against the Leafs where they were down big and they came back in the third period. He was instrumental. I mean, yesterday in the comeback against the Rangers, he was instrumental, and he's really taken on a leadership role. And you guys know that better than I do. I'm only seeing him from afar, but he looks like a different player to me.
Yeah, he looks like a different player. And Don, one of the things I think he's done is he's picked up where he left off last year, and he has been just terrific, I think.
And he's shooting the puck more, and to me, that's always been the thing about Jason Spezza. Coaches that have been here have said, you've got to shoot the puck more. He's got a great shot. Did you see his second goal in the third period yesterday? He tucked it in that corner, a very hard shot. It was a very small opening, and he pounded it home. He's got to keep shooting the puck, and not only because I have him in a pool where shots on goal are important. That has nothing to do with it. He's got to shoot the puck. They don't have enough snipers on this team. They don't have enough guys that can score. He's one of them. He's got to shoot the puck.
I think that he and Milan Michalek are one of the most dynamic duos in the league right now. We've been talking about the Leafs and the Senators rebuilding. Our reader Roger wants to know, or our watcher Roger wants to know, or our multi-content person.
We get your point.
Roger wants to know, the Leafs and Senators are both rebuilding. Based on the young talent both teams have now, and this is a good question, which team's going to be better in 3 years? The Senators have completely torn it down, Mike.
Yeah.
I would say that Brian Burke has tried to speed up his rebuild.
Sure, but that's happened in some cases by luck, okay? James Reimer, he's might be hurt, but the success of this team, he is hurt.
Okay. You said he might be. I don't know.
He might be. I should have said he might be back. Thank you for editing my verbal copy, Don. That was awfully nice of you. But if you think about it, Bruce, James Reimer only made his first National Hockey League start in Ottawa on New Year's Day. So everybody's talking about this guy as the next coming of Turk Broda, but I mean, let's not get too carried away. But you're absolutely right. I mean, by bringing in a Clark MacArthur, a Phaneuf, a guys, these are young guys, but they're more established guys. And obviously, the debate about Phil Kessel, did they give away, 2 firsts and a second? Was that too much? Now people are all gaga in Toronto because Phil Kessel has the most goals in the NHL. I think Brian Burke put it best. He said, when asked who won the trade, he said, Boston has a Stanley Cup ring, don't they? That's the goal.
What's your thoughts, Don?
Don?
Do you have any thoughts? You're
No.
looking a little
Something,
blank.
anything?
What were you talking about? No. Which team is going to win this? Going to be better in 3 years?
3
yeah,
years.
which
Yeah,
team
Is that what we were talking
yeah.
about? Edmonton, easily. C? Option C?
Colorado.
No, if Ottawa has broken it down as much as we think they have,
Yep.
if they've torn it apart as much as, I don't know what the Toronto Maple Leafs have in the system. I don't know their prospects. I mean, not as
Joe
well as
Colburn
you.
is leading the American Hockey
Okay,
League in
yeah,
scoring
I knew
right
that.
now.
I knew that.
Keith Ollie, the kid that they got in the Phaneuf trade, is down there because they have so much depth on defense. Cody Franzen that they got, he's sitting in the press box right now. They got him in the trade with Nashville. And then you look at it, I mean, prospects, I would say, we've heard all this propaganda about Nazem Kadri and the whole thing at the draft where, Brian Burke went up and said to the Senators, like,
Yeah.
do you like him? We're going to...
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I don't believe
he's
any of
not
that.
even...
I don't believe it either.
Sorry.
He
Come
knew he
on,
had a
Brian.
mic on.
Yeah.
Really?
And
Berkey?
Brian Burke's never met a mic he didn't like.
Exactly. Except for me.
Yeah.
But we'll be appearing at the local Holiday Inn when we're done. But
the veal.
no, the one thing I really like the Carlson kid for Ottawa. I think his upside is going to be huge. Did I say the name wrong, Don? You're looking at me like
I'm
really
just looking at you.
weird,
You've
but
gotten taller since I knew you in Toronto.
the best prospect to me that they have is this Jake Gardner kid. I mean, he just jumped onto the scene, and as a scout told me when they were playing against Detroit, it's not that he's got the speed, and he may be the fastest guy on the team, but when he brings the puck up, he sees the ice so well, and he'll slow the play down. He controls the pace, and for a rookie, that's incredible. And so I see those two young defensemen, Carlson and Gardner, being kind of the cornerstones of their franchises for a while.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Don.
You don't really.
No, I think I started talking, then he interrupted. Isn't that the way it went?
All right, guys. There's been a lot of talk about fighting in hockey and taking hockey out of fighting, or taking fighting out of hockey. Mark wants to know if the National Hockey League would actually do that, Don. I don't believe for a second that would actually happen.
Well, they can't. I mean, that's just a ridiculous notion, and you're going to see it tonight when Neil and Rosehill.
If he's in the lineup,
Oh, if
I
he's
would
in the
think
lineup,
he would be.
or Konopka maybe gets that Phaneuf tonight. You're going to see, I don't know, half the building stand and everybody cheering and everybody focused solely on what's happening. Fighting has always been a part
Half
of the
the
game.
building, Don?
All of the building. Yeah, you're right. Half the press box.
What always makes kind of bewilders me a little bit, guys, is the fact that when they come out with these national surveys saying everybody's against fighting, or 60-70% of people polled were against fighting. Maybe they should poll some of the people inside the arena that are standing when a fight is going on. Because when is the last time, and between us, we covered a lot of National Hockey League games, when's the last time you saw people like sitting down and booing because there was a fight?
Yeah.
They might boo because they hate the guy on the other team.
Yeah.
They might boo because their own guy is a crappy fighter.
Yeah.
But I don't see this onslaught of anti-fighting sentiment when you go to a game and one breaks out. I see the opposite.
I know that when Chris Neal gets in a fight and he knows that he's charged up, and he knows the bench is charged up, and he knows the fans are charged up, he gives it a wave, and the place goes crazy. It gets loud in there, and some people don't like that. Some people think that's showmanship. It's not Aaron Asham doing the sleeping and all that. But some people don't like that. I love it. I think that the place just gets electrified by something like that, as it does for a fight every time.
I got to ask you guys, you've got a new coach here in Ottawa, and Paul McLean. You've got Ron Wilson behind the bench in Toronto. There's been an awful lot of heat on Wilson. One of our readers wants to know which coach is going to last longer here. Do you see Ron Wilson having a long shelf life?
You know what? I mean, I personally, I don't understand it. I don't see it from a personal point of view, but from a practical point of view, Brian Burke is on record as saying that, if the Leafs, midway through the season are doing well, they'll talk extension. Now, I don't know, and a lot of fans don't know, believe me, because I get the feedback too. They can't understand how a guy that has missed the playoffs 3 consecutive years could possibly get an extension. But the reality is, Burke and Wilson, whether they like it or not, and they say nothing, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. They were roommates in college, okay? So, they're kind of tied at the hip. And unless this thing goes down the proverbial toilet real quick, whether I like it or not, whether the fans like it or not, I think that he may very well get it.
He's excited. He's excited about that. And so are you.
No,
you like the guy.
Yeah, no, I love him. I swear, I swear to goodness, though, Don, if they gave him an extension, they'd fade and miss the playoffs right after that extension was signed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Toronto. I like Ron Wilson. I find him very entertaining. I like his brashness, his rudeness. I like it all. Well, I don't have to deal with him every day. If I did, I probably wouldn't like it as much. I know that Paul McLean has the best job in hockey right now because
no expectation.
He's not going anywhere. He's got a what is it? Has he got a 3-year deal? I think he's got a 3-year deal.
Yep.
And he's not going. This team isn't supposed to do anything. So the coach isn't going to make any mistakes. They're going to develop. They're going to move along. He's a likable guy. He's got the player's ear. And
what a stash.
Yeah, and great stash. And he's a different kind of guy from Corey Klusen. Corey, if you're watching. How's it going? I don't know. Would he be watching? No. He didn't like us when he had to look at us live.
No.
But no, I just think that Paul McLean, and I think that has a lot of impact in the room. These players knew that Corey Klusen was on his way out.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to listen to the guy, to do what he's telling you. They know that Paul McLean's not going anywhere, and he's a good guy, and he's been a player. That's the key thing.
Well, before we wrap this up, and we're going to wrap this up fairly quickly, let's talk about the game tonight a little bit. When the Sens and the Leafs play, and you've been with the Leafs across Canada, Mike, Scotiabank Place is going to be loud. What do the players really think about the fact that, what do the home players really think about the fact that when the Leafs go into their buildings, and this happens in Calgary, Edmonton, that there are more, and certainly in Florida, there are more Leaf fans than there are actual home fans?
Well, one of the best ones is in Buffalo because obviously it's just an hour-and-a-half drive down the road. And I remember going down there a couple days early before the Leafs went down to talk to Ryan Miller about it. I said, how does it feel when like the anthem ends and all of a sudden your home rink bursts into chants of "Go Leafs Go"? And he said, I can understand that. It's so close in that. He said, what I don't understand is how 10 guys in a row, in the first row behind us on the bench, are all in Leaf jerseys. How did they get those tickets?
Yeah.
Well, people will pay whatever to watch that team, and it's the Boston Red Sox all over again, Don, 80-something years without a title, and they just keep sipping the Kool-Aid, not your Kool-Aid.
I think he's right about one thing, though, tonight, that Daniel Alfredsson is not going to be around to get booed.
Yeah, that is sad. No, because it's.
And I know you hate
so
it.
Boo commissary.
Well, I think that's a joke, and I don't know. I mean,
we've
I've
had several conversations about it.
Yeah.
I've listened to you talk about this. I'm now giving you a chance to talk about it, and you're sitting there with a blank look on your face.
No, I'm trying to squeeze a word in edgewise.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't like, and it's not because it's Ottawa. It's not because it's anything. If it's my building and I'm out there cheering for my team in my town, and the guy next to me is booing my captain, I don't know. Like, you don't want to say, like, slug them because they're fans and they're going to get all sorts of trouble and the cops are there, they're kicked out. But would you take that? You'd have a word with the guy. Like, wouldn't you? Like, especially if you had a beer's eyes. I've seen you after a beer's eyes.
What are you going to do with the 4,999 other Leaf fans that are doing it?
Well, they're all beside an Ottawa guy.
Here's some advice. Cheer louder than the guy next to you is booing.
Don't be such a grown-up. Now, the one thing though that they did say, I remember Spezza the other night in Carolina. There was a lot of Ottawa fans. There's about 20 Ottawa fans there, and they were pounding on the glass in the warm-up, and they had the Senator sweater on, and they were all fired up. And Spezza said after the game, he came up to me and said, "You got to give those people a shout out. They were loud. We heard them. We were getting ready in the dressing room. We heard the Senators fans pounding on the glass cheering for us. That meant something."
All right, guys.
I don't know who they were.
Last question. Real quick, because we got to wrap this up. Who wins tonight and why?
I'm going to go on a limb and say the Senators 3-2. I know Gustafsson played well the last game. I just think that the Leafs are due for a clunker. Maybe that's the negative Toronto attitude of seeing a team not make the playoffs since 2004. But I like what I saw from the Senators yesterday. I really did, and all week. The Leafs will be winning 2-0 until the last 30 seconds, and then the Senators will win 3-2. Isn't that the blueprint?
Well, and I don't know, and I would say that both teams are due for a clunker, and Ottawa could very well. This could be the night for Ottawa. I think it's going to be a good game. I like the fact that Robin Leonard's playing tonight, though.
Did I?
I don't think we've said that.
Yeah. Did I ask you to give a score?
No, he gave a score though, and I still haven't given him a score.
Well, can you go ahead and give a score because we're trying to wrap this up?
Oh yeah, Robin Leonard gets a shutout tonight.
Wow.
3-0.
I say that Ottawa spots Toronto a 6-goal lead, comes back to win 7-6. We hope you've enjoyed our live chat. You'll join us again sometime soon. It was great to see his eyes. Don, I can't say the same for you.
Two adults and Don.
Thanks to everybody for joining us here on Ottawa Sun and TorontoSun.com. Hope you've enjoyed it.